said his team is excited, but it's not, quote, like it's the playoffs. No.
See, now Dan just talking now.
That's not a very Dan Campbell-like quote.
Yeah.
But who needs to win this game and get the number one seed more, Keyshawn?
Dan said a couple of weeks ago everything basically was like the playoffs. They was going to finish strong.
He's lowering the temperature on this one. So who needs it more, Vikings or Vikings? Vikings or Lions?
It's the Lions. But it could be even, right? But it's the Lions. And the only reason why it's the Lions versus just me saying it's even is because they haven't had a first-round bye ever in the history of the organization. So, you know, it was crazy last year with the one little wild card game they had at home. It was bananas. Imagine if they get an opportunity to get the first round bye at home, and when that team comes into their facility or their complex in a couple weeks and face them in the divisional round, they one game away from the NFC Championship game, 2 games away from New Orleans. So it's huge. It's huge. We know, look, if they go on the road, they got some stuff that's portable. They can run the football on the road. We obviously with Gibbs doing the things he's doing. But the crowd in itself would just go bananas, would go crazy. Imagine how much they've been bottled up as an organization and not really having home playoff games. And now they get a chance as the number 1 seed to go into that building and just unleash all of that frustration out on the opponent. I mean, it would serve its purpose. Now, the Vikings defense, they play well on the road. And but I don't know what the pass game would look like if they had to go on the road and they face a team with some bad weather conditions. I don't know what that would look like for them. We would have to wait and see. But I kind of like the Lions either way, on the road or at home, but I would prefer to have them at home because of the crowd.
Yeah, I like them. I think they need it more because it puts them in a situation. If they lose this game, and they have to go on the road and see Tampa Bay, who they've already lost to, and Tampa's playing well right now against a defense that's pretty much depleted of the Detroit Lions. I'm not so sure they would make it out of the first game if they don't get a first-round bye. So I think it's them. I like Minnesota to win this game, so I think Detroit is in real trouble if they have to go on the road because what I saw from them, they're winning games, but what you're seeing from them, their defense has just been atrocious. Like they can't hold water, and if they got to go into a hostile crowd first game, I think they could be a one and done.
Yeah, I think it's the Lions too because of their injuries, the fact that their defense has been struggling. The Vikings defense will travel better, I believe, than the Lions. Now, the Vikings want this, obviously, as well. But the interesting thing about the NFC is Philly's the only cold weather home field left on the NFC side. When you're looking at where you would have to go.
Right.
Because Washington and Green Bay are going to be on the road. Or, they're going to be on the road throughout the playoffs. So Philly's the only place you're going to go where you really have to worry about weather.
Yeah, so it's important to get that number 1 seed. It's important to get that number 1 seed.
Washington and Green Bay will be on the road no matter what. You've got Tampa Bay warm, L.A. warm, Detroit dome, Vikings dome.
But you're speaking as if they're the number 1 seed, right?
Who?
Detroit. You're saying if Detroit gets the 1.
Yeah, but the only place you're going to have to go that's cold is Philly.
But if you drop to 5?
Yeah, because you go to Tampa.
Oh, yeah, so you're in front of everybody anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you beat Tampa, you're still in front.
Washington and Green Bay are cold, but they're lower seeds.
Yeah, they're lower seeds, so, yeah.
Which is wild because it's the NFC, and those are a lot of cold weather teams, but it's not. They're not.
But it feels like the NFC has, outside of the North, everybody else feels warm.
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, out west, everybody out west is warm.
But you've got the NFC East that has Philly, that has New York.
But I don't even think of New York. It
has Washington.
No,
but they're not in the postseason.
No, I understand. I'm saying
for what this path looks like, really, you're talking about being on the road and dealing with on the road fans and the hassle of traveling for a game more so than the weather because it's really just going to be Philly. But I also like that if the Lions got the bye, we know that they're dealing with a lot of injuries.
It helps them.
They have some guys who would potentially be able to come back and be available for a divisional round game, and then obviously for the NFC Championship game. Jay Glazer reported that Aiden Hutchinson may possibly be available for that. So
NFC Championship game.
Yes. So the more time, David Montgomery is doing rehab with the goal of being back for the divisional round of the playoffs. So if you're getting this extra week to rest guys, to give people the ability to, ease up for the playoffs and then also be at home, that is a huge advantage that I think benefits the Lions in a big way. Obviously, the Vikings, again, would want it. Yeah. And when you're talking about the offensive side of the ball, it's always more beneficial to be at home and to be in a dome for this part of the season, especially if you're a dome team. But I think that the offense has been something that we've been able to trust with the Lions all year. The defense, however, especially over the last couple of weeks, has really struggled. Weeks 1 through 12, they were allowing 16.6 points per game. Weeks 13 through 17, 30 points per game. So you're talking about that offense having to score over 30 points no matter what in order to be able to win a game in the postseason. That's a huge ask for the Lions.
But they got, they looked like they were struggling early against San Francisco. In the second half, they turned it around. They was able to create turnovers. They was able to do some things. And so that's kind of the way that they've played since you ran off those numbers of late. They've given up a lot of points, but they've been able to cash it in the end. They're letting people score on them, but for some reason, Aaron Glenn is dialing it up at the right time. That's not hurting them. And that's the good thing about it. I don't remember the last time the last game of the season came down to the number 1 seed. I can't remember how long ago, has it been recent or what the case is. This is going to be a phenomenal game to be able to watch Sunday night to see Minnesota in Detroit for the number 1 seed.
It's going to be amazing. Let's move on from a very consequential game to a consequential decision. The Eagles have decided to sit Saquon Barkley on Sunday, denying their star running back a chance to break Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record. Saquon is just 101 yards short. I don't know why I can't talk today. Short of owning that iconic record. But said he was cool with that decision. Not super convincing, but
really,
I think he's a team guy, so I think he's cool with what the team decided and what Sirianni decided. But do you think it's the right move for the Eagles to rest Saquon for the playoffs?
I don't think it's the right move for selfish reasons because this is how I look at it. And I said this to Key in the back, like they have to win the Super Bowl now. Because if they go out there and they don't make it to the Super Bowl or win the or lose in the first round and you don't go for the record, you're going to have so many regrets. This is like you can hear what he said. He said this is an opportunity of a lifetime. This may never happen in our lifetime if he doesn't do it this weekend. I mean, the record's been there for 40 years. It's tough, especially for running backs. There's not a lot of great running backs in our league, and obviously Saquon is one of those guys. But I just don't want to leave no regret either way. Like if he plays, he gets it, or say he plays, something happens to him. I mean, I don't like to think about this stuff, man. I think he should go for it. This is something that you can hang your hat on for the rest of your life. Because what if you don't win the Super Bowl, then you're going to always have that regret in the back of your mind.
Would you rather be an NBA All-Star or win an NBA championship?
I would rather.
But this isn't a Pro Bowl, though.
I could have given him a record, but I just figured.
But
we're talking about an individual accolade.
Rare. It is an individual accolade, but it's a rare.
I understand.
Rare.
No,
if I had one game to go in the season and I needed 30 points and we already in the playoffs, our seed, everything, I'm playing. I need to break the all-time scoring record. This is equivalent to that.
And that's true. Y'all game is so soft. It's not.
You can sprain an ankle. Anything can happen.
Paul, we're not risking this young man's opportunity to play in the Super Bowl and help our team get to the Super Bowl.
And then what if they don't go to the Super Bowl? Then what?
Then they just don't go to the Super Bowl. You try again next year.
Try again.
No. It's too sensitive. That's one of the main reasons they're not doing it. If it was just, he can get 100 yards. No, because what they're getting ready to do, they're going to line up 20 dudes across the field, the Giants, to stop him from getting that record against his former team.
Listen to this.
I'm not taking a chance.
Eric Dickerson.
Because, Coach, what I have to do is I not only have to play Saquon, I have to start literally everybody. I have to start everybody. I have to put the number ones out there.
I'll say give him the first half to go for it. If he doesn't get in the first half, sit him down. Listen to this stat.
Oh, man, we ain't doing that.
Listen to this, Joey. There's been over 1,500 running backs to carry in the NFL.
Since the record.
Since the record.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It ain't. It's not. If it doesn't happen, I'm okay with that. But I can't limp into the playoffs.
Yeah, there
just can't
really
do
is
it.
no guarantee that he's going to get 101 yards in this game because Key's right. It's not like they're playing any team. They're playing the Giants.
That's any team.
No,
That's
Well, that is any team.
That's any team.
Well, but I'm saying they have a terrible rush defense, but they're going to, whatever they're going to do, their season is over. Their only goal in this game would be to try to keep him from getting that record against them. And I'm actually okay with it. I would be okay with it either way. I'm a bit on the fence.
I mean,
if he wanted to play and they decided that he should play and they wanted to go for it as a team,
then I'm okay.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But I'm also perfectly okay with him resting because they've played 12 straight games. They had a bye in week 5. We don't know what kind of ailments any of these guys are dealing with. It's a really long season. Just because it's not on the injury report doesn't mean they're not exhausted, that they don't need to be fresh for the postseason. They don't have a bye. If they had a bye, it would be a different situation. And to your point about the ones, what about the offensive line?
That's what I'm saying.
Offensive line has to be out there.
Man, they got to be out there.
He's going to go for it. And those guys are tired. You remember when you were
laughing,
upset
Paul?
about
You got to be out there, man.
The swords?
Playing against the worst defense.
It doesn't matter. Okay, let's say nothing happens to Saquon. Nothing at all. But Mulata twists his ankle, or the center hurts his shoulder, or the right guard pinches a nerve in his neck.
Also,
it's
if they were coming off of a Super Bowl win last year, right, and they're trying to go back to the Super Bowl, but they've all been there, they've all won, I think I'd feel completely different about it. Like, you know what, you've been in a Super Bowl, you've won a Super Bowl, cool. Now we can sort of focus on multitasking these goals here. But your ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl.
And you know, Nick Sirianni would not get fired for if he doesn't get the rushing title. He get fired if he got hurt or somebody got hurt and it cost them the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That would then...
When they lose in the playoffs, do you regret not going for that?
I'm sure Saquon
You know how many
will.
times...
Individually, you'd probably be like, man, we should just, you know... But
you're gonna have to live with that now.
I can live with that, but I can't live with being hurt.
Risk? Like what could you live with more? Going to the playoffs and losing in the first round, or getting hurt in a meaningless game trying to achieve this record?
I mean, it's obvious. You don't want to. I don't want them to get hurt, but this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
It is.
You know, this is not
it's not
decision,
just
but it's not just him. Yeah, the offensive line.
Yeah, I
has
get what
to
you're saying,
play.
Keith. I get what you're saying.
Man, you got my...
I say let them play the first half. Go for it.
No.
Does it happen?
Not
all
happening.
getting out of there.
No, we're not doing that. Not at all. Not going to happen.
It is really tough because Paul's right. This record is probably never going to get broken.
This is never going to be
He
broken.
might do it next year.
It's so hard to rush for 2,000 yards. Only 8 other quarterbacks. You said 1,500 have carried since Eric Dickerson.
Yes.
Only 9 running backs in the history of the sport have rushed for over 2,000 yards. Saquon is the 9th. Before him, there were 8 others. It is extremely rare to get to this point. But the main thing has got to be the main thing. We all love Pat Riley up here, right? The main thing is the main thing, and that is the Super Bowl.
Paul's selfish, though.
No, for some reasons, I do want to see him break that.
I want to see him break the record.
I want to see
He
him
should have
break
done
that.
it in 15 games. He should have done
He
it.
didn't know he was going to be on this path until it got closer to it.
He won't even think about this. If he's in New Orleans, he won't even be thinking about no damn record.
That's what I'm saying. The only thing that's going to cure this hangover, if you don't go for it, is winning a Super Bowl.
And based on their last several games, without Jalen Hurts in the lineup, once Jalen Hurts comes back, they're going to probably wind up in the Super Bowl.
We'll see. I'm just saying, though. I'm just saying it's gonna be a lot of regret if they don't win the Super Bowl.
There will be, but you would have regret no matter what, because either you're going to risk potentially, like best case scenario, he gets the record, they go to the Super Bowl, they win the Super Bowl, right? But everything under that is a really complicated choice and something that everyone has to live
That will be
because
historic.
everything goes through Saquon.
Yeah. And Nick Sirianni wants to keep his job.
For sure.
So making the wrong decision will cost him his job.
Well, he might be on the hot seat if they don't make it to the Super Bowl.
Well, I'd rather take my chances on us not making it to the Super Bowl than take my rolling the dice and take my chances on something happening to one of my players that I certainly need in the game, not just Saquon Barkley. I'm talking about people that have to protect him. All of a sudden, it's just, like I said, it's a pinched nerve, it's lingering, and you just can't. You can't. There's nothing there.
You can't do it. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.